Unless you learn how to move from reacting to responding, you will never achieve agency and autonomy and empower yourself to control the one thing that you should have control over, which is your own internal state, your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your own behaviors. If you're constantly reacting to the environment, to systems, or to other people, then you will forever be a victim, and you will live in a victim mentality, just relinquishing and giving control of the one thing that you should have control over. Because if they can control your emotions, then they can control you, because we're emotional beings. So if you relinquish control of your emotions, then they own you, and they become the puppeteer pulling all of the strings. You see, those systems, they want to control your emotions. They want to trigger you into an emotional reaction. They want to trigger you into stress, anger, or fear. Then they'll turn around and sell you the instant gratification or the dopamine in order to calm those symptoms down. So they'll create the problem, then they'll sell you the solution. It's a setup, and they'll play you. And they do that by triggering an emotional reaction. And you will forever be a victim of that unless you decide to take control back and learn how to respond and achieve response flexibility, where you can hit pause and create a space in between the trigger or the stressor in the environment and your response. But most of us don't do that. We're constantly reacting, which is understandable because we're designed to react to our environment. We're designed to be assessing, looking for a threat, mitigating the threat in order to keep ourselves safe. It's also difficult because reactions happen instantaneous, just like that. 50 milliseconds for the amygdala to perceive a threat or misperceive a threat. Also happens effortlessly, so no effort is needed on your behalf. And it usually happens unconsciously, beyond our conscious awareness, in the shadows. So it's instantaneous, it's effortless, and it's unconscious. Once you react, it creates a cascade of physiological reactions within your body. You snap into certain neural pathways. The sympathetic nervous system is activated. Blood flow to your extremities. It hinders protein synthesis, increased respiration and heart rate, preparing you to fight or flee, which is important if there is an actual threat that you need to mitigate. But what happens when there is no threat and you're constantly finding yourself reacting, and in that state, when you're hyper-reactive or you're overreacting and you're triggering the sympathetic nervous system, you're stressing the body, which is not healthy long-term, because that stress mechanism, that'll burn the furniture in order to survive the winter. It doesn't care about your long-term emotional and physical well-being. All it cares about is your immediate safety. And prolonged stress will downregulate genes and open the door for disease. It will create inflammation. It will attack the chromosome protecting telomeres. It'll literally make you sick or lead to premature death. And it will create emotional dysregulation. It will steal your peace and serenity. So you can't constantly be reacting to the environment. You have to learn how to hit pause and take what's happening in the shadows outside of your awareness and bring it into the light. Put it on the table. Be consciously aware of what's happening. You have to emotionally attune to yourself. You have to become aware of increased respiration, increased heart rate, aware when you start to clench your fists or clench your teeth, when you start to feel tense in your body. When you're moving into an emotional reaction, you have to be aware of it. Once you put it on the table and you shed light on it and you become conscious of it, then you can start to manipulate and control it. The next thing you want to do is focus on your breathing. Focus on your in-breath and your out-breath. Just feeling your breath come in and come out. Just taking a moment to attune to your breath is the fastest way to reintegrate your prefrontal cortex, to calm your amygdala down, to get out of the sympathetic nervous system and move into the parasympathetic nervous system. And once your prefrontal cortex is back online, now you can reason and rationalize. Now you can be strategic. Now you can decide how you want to mitigate the threat, if you want to address the threat, if you want to maintain boundaries, if you want to lean in or pull back. Now you've gained the ability to consciously choose what your next step is going to be, instead of being a puppet and reacting to whatever's going on in the environment. It's not what happens to you in the environment, it's the way in which you respond rather than react. And you don't want to constantly be reacting, because you will forever be a victim. And it's not good for you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Your power lies in creating response flexibility and creating a gap, hitting pause, and creating space in between the trigger or the stressor in the environment and your response. You want to emotionally attune to the sensations, focus on your breathing, and take your power back. Now you can achieve agency and autonomy. Now you can feel empowered. And now you've gained control of the one thing that you should have control over, which is your thoughts and your emotions. Timber approves this message.